The reason why I'm here is because while I was serving a 5.5-year sentence in Wanddsworth, I met a man called Jonathan Assoc who introduced me to a program called SVI, which helps dealing with violence and the dynamics of violence, helps to deal with the shame linked to violence and the shame that causes violence. And it helped me a lot while I was in prison. It's helped me a lot while I'm outside, and I'd like to share my story with people.
I was offering a sense of belonging, which meant no control over the agenda from me, no rehabilitation agenda from me, no rule even against violence in the sessions I ran. Now, despite there being no rule against violence, we never had these violent incidents occurring that were happening elsewhere in the prison, and certainly happening on other courses where you couldn't get on if you were currently being violent. So they try and minimise the risks as far as possible, but still violent incidents might occur. I was flipping that over and saying, I'm actually going to exclusively take people currently being violent, and yet there were no violent incidents in the sessions. Why? Because I was respected and I was loved as a leader of a super gang. And the super gang was my program. It was called Shame Violence Intervention. I've done all of this undercover to some extent, in that what I do and what I have done has been too stressful for, as it were, the system to get its head around.
I thought SVI is like a brand.
A brand?
Yeah, definitely. So when you jump on that brand, you don't want to jump off.
I was on a constant ship out, wasn't I?
Right.
I'm on a constant move.
So it wasn't that you weren't offered them, it's just,
well,
it wasn't...
At the time, when it got to the stage, it was like they said I was too dangerous to be in courses. Oh, bollocks.
But they did say that?
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
So that's the difference with the SVI thing, isn't it? Is that it's a course, if you like, for that excluded dangerous person.
Yeah.
What you did was find a way of working with those clients, the untouchable clients,
yes,
the ones that were locked down and put away. And I've always found that a really weird concept, that the people that most need our help we're not allowed to work with. It's the same within the pupil referral units. The guys that were excluded all the time didn't get the constant therapeutic alliance.
There isn't really anything else out there like what SVI is doing.
Done over 20 odd years behind the door. This is the longest I've ever been out, which is 2 years. I've done so much block. Chris, if you're not familiar with the block is the segregation.
I could go down into segregation, where you spent a lot of your time. I could sit down and talk with you, and not only that, I could walk out of segregation with you, do a session with you, take you back afterwards. Now that is not happening anywhere else in the UK.
Some people say you're lowest, but you're strongest when you're in segregation because you're at one with yourself.
Oh, that's interesting.
Then where you came along and you had time for us and you showed us love and respect, you know, you took us out of that segregated state and you brought us into a group.
I couldn't have been happier. Do you know what I mean? At the time, when I was, you know, actually in prison. For once I was happy because I was doing something on a course. Whereas the whole sentence I'd done 6 years out of 8, I didn't do one course. I was behind that door, 24/7. I looked up to you, Joe, because you come and looked for me.
SVI was by invitation only. You can't apply to be on SVI. It's by invitation only. It was kind of like I felt like I was in a special group.
SVI is all about gangs, gang members and that, getting together and getting things just not out of hand.
Leon's beautifully put his finger on it, because we're inhabiting the dynamics of gang culture. What happens is I become accepted as leader of a super gang involving other powerful gang members, often, as it were, warring for territory, in our case within the same prison, but it can be transferred out onto the street as well.
The longest time I've ever been up before, since the age of 16, is 4 months. So,
do you mind me asking how old you are now, Frank?
30. I'm 30 now. So since the age of 16, the longest I've been out is just 4 months. This is the longest I've been out. I'm interacting with my son a bit more. I'm doing more parent roles, taking him here, there and everywhere. Not thinking as about myself as such, thinking about other people and how other people might be affected to my attitude. Like, I had no respect for myself, no respect for my mother, no respect for no one until, even girls, I had no respect for women.
It's changed me in a hell of a way, because I was a proper violent person.
And what our intention is in terms of supporting you, you know, we're still very keen on anything that we can do because we see it as having significance. What was fascinating for me was I used to work in a pupil referral unit, and I just had this thought that if only we could take what you were doing and move it further down the line, and it sort of began an interest for me that's lasted, how long ago was that?
I think it was 2008.
2008, well, so 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's been fascinating watching you develop SVI.
Yeah. Actually, the moment you want to change somebody else, you actually shame them.
Yeah, of course.
Because you're basically saying, listen, you're not as good.
Yeah, I'm better than you.
I'm better than
you. Listen to what I'm telling you because I'm better than you.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? But it's not that. It's not about making people change. Like, you got to change. You got to do this. It's about giving them food for thought. You go home and you digest the food, innit? Right? If you want to get rid of the food, it's up to you. You get what I mean? If you want to take it on board, or you want to say, okay, I'm not taking it on board, that's up to you, innit?
Yeah.
But as you sit there and think about it, you know what I mean? And definitely, the older you get, you know what I mean, it becomes much clearer than what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, all ETS, bloody, I can't remember their names, they're so rubbish, man. Sit here, do you get what I mean? They sit you on this course, they put a camera in the corner and they ask you questions. And you know the answer to them questions you give are gonna play a big part in you getting out early or you getting out later. You get what I mean? It don't take a rocket scientist to think what sort of answer you're gonna give. You get what I mean? Yeah, okay, yeah, this, that. You're just gonna be normal, straight, no swearing, no aggressive, answer these questions how they want you to answer them.
Could you give us an example of one of the questions they might?
How would you feel if your girlfriend aborted your child without telling you? Like, what do you mean, how am I gonna feel? I'm gonna feel like she killed my kid, innit? You get what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be crazy, I'm gonna be angry, I'm gonna be mad. Now, what do they want you to answer? I don't know what I answered. No, I'll sit her down, I'd ask her why she's done it, I wouldn't be angry. Of course anyone's gonna be angry, you get what I mean? Your girlfriend's telling you, well, yeah, I was pregnant 2 weeks ago, but I killed the kid because I didn't want it. I didn't care what you think. Of course you're going to be mad, you're going to be angry. It's breeding liars. It's just getting you to lie more.
A lot of the time you're banged up. So unless you're one of the main, like a blue band or a main cleaner or like on the server or hot plate, people that give out the food, you ain't going to get out yourself. So then Joe's taking the time out to come around all these different wings, and he knows that a lot of these crews don't like him, and he's got to play the game and massage egos and laugh with people and do that shit and get onto the wing and say, oh yeah, can you open up a few people? And some of them they're not receptive to him, so then he's got to go to these cells himself and open this cell on the 4s and the 3s and here and there. Then he's got to leave us at that wing and go onto this wing and talk to the screws there. And so then he's doing a lot of groundwork to get us to where we are, to get us into this little space.
The guys that the project was working with were violently enacting prisoners. They were proving a control threat within the prison. People go to prison, sometimes they are violent on the outside beforehand, sometimes they become violent because of the prison environment. The prison environment usually, frankly, exacerbates problems rather than helps. So it's all the more impressive when a project actually is effective, and you do see that. And in the meeting, certainly, you could tell that these were changed individuals who were very articulate, talking about themselves and where they had been in their lives, but the fact that they'd moved on. And that's absolutely what the system should be trying to do.
Wanddsworth has this aura, I guess, through the media and everything else.
That experience of visiting shame violence intervention at Wanddsworth left quite an indelible mark on me. The context that I understood was that these were not only seriously violent people outside prison, but they were seriously violent inside prison. And they were essentially gang leaders within the wings of the prison.
I'd invited some other colleagues from BACP and somebody from the charity Unlock along as well, and kind of meeting up with them and going through security and going into the place. I suppose my head was filled with all kinds of fantasies, really, about what it would be like.
I didn't quite know what to expect. Yet what I expected from them is not what I saw.
And I think what surprised me most about the time there was just listening to these guys talking about their experience and talking about themselves very openly, very honestly.
The level of articulation that they had, the self-analysis that they had of their own issues was quite astounding.
There's you from a background where
Right.
middle class, you know, private school.
Yeah.
Never been involved in gang violence, guns, drugs, what have you. But you've now decided to come into our world and take us away from our world and shine us a different world, which left a profound effect on me, you know, and I believe so the rest of the team. So that's the thing that I'm talking now, the team.
Yeah, it's an interesting word.
I'll never
isn't
use
it?
this kind of language, but
The super gang becomes a team.
Yeah, that's what SVI has done, and it eradicated beef.
Through SVI, I've learned to deal with my violence a lot. I can hold my temper. I cannot feel shame. That leads to violence.
I think a major role that SVI played in is quashing a lot of area beefs.
I'm here to basically to say and show that what SVI has done for me, and certain situations where I felt like I was going to take things into my own hands, speak up about it, and it helps you that you notice that you kind of settle down afterwards, calm down after you spoke it out. So I'm here basically to say on camera what SVI has done for me. You know, it was SVI that kind of made me start talking.
We met shortly before this, which actually is a very SVI thing, because people integrate and it can happen quickly. I mean, have you got any thoughts or feelings about shame and violence, and has this session sparked off any thoughts around that, or that, you know, it may not?
Yes, I know. And he stabs you up, or he bowls his kettle with loads of hot sugar, with sugar in there, throws it on you, sticks in your skin, you're fucked.
So that's the shame dynamic. So it starts with a piece of embarrassment, and then it just goes backwards and forwards, tit for tat. It's bigger and bigger until someone gets seriously.
For me personally, see, like for instance, I don't know, a screw says something to me now. I said, alright, cool. Because obviously you can't react instantly because it's a screw in it.
Keeping it on the street, I suppose, rather than prison stuff. My main role in SVI is managing high levels of risk. I have compassion, and I have empathy, and I have connection, because I understand developmental trauma from the inside. I feel it myself.
The last time I saw Joe was in Wanddsworth 2009. Okay. Within the first week of me being out of prison, I was like, bro, I'm gonna get a link to Joe. I had some paperwork with his name on it. And then Joe said, yeah, he's got something going on. So I said, alright, cool. Obviously, anything involves Joe. If he's down, I'm down. You get me, I've got Joe's back. So went down there. So I didn't know what to expect. It was cool. I thought the kids would have been, because especially, you know, when you're in prison, you watch the news and you hear all these little stabbings and shootings, and obviously the outlook that the media and the newspapers kind of present about the kids nowadays. So then I had a kind of certain little outlooks. I was thinking to myself, oh, they're going to be like this, or they're going to kind of have a lot of attitude. But they were cool. They were very receptive. You lot felt embarrassed at some point in time. That's why you lot wilded out.
Would you agree or disagree?
Disagree. Welcome to disagree.
Sometimes, but like sometimes it could be like they know how to trigger you. They know how to get on your nerves.
Okay. Can you give us an example, perhaps?
Like, say if I've got someone sitting behind me, they'll just keep tapping me until I retaliate against them.
Okay.
And then when I retaliate, that's their thing to go, well, I didn't do nothing wrong, he's the one who hit me, I didn't hit him.
Okay.
Let me tell you something that only gets worse, doesn't it? You get kicked out from primary school, you go to a naughty school, you go to secondary school, you come to referral school, you come from referral school, go secure unit, from secure unit you go fell on, from fell on you go big man jail, and it just carries on and on and on, you get what I'm saying?
Enough men that I knew when I went to prison in 2004, 8 men that I know now. Enough man, enough girl, enough certain old family members.
It's good to educate yourself, but trust me, it's good for that. It's good for you to have a smart head on you, man. People can't play with you then. You get what I'm saying? Because a lot of stuff out here is not just physical, you get what I'm saying? It's a lot of psychology.
That's what it's about. It's about what you can do with these right there and then.
I've been in situations that could have ruined my life numerous of times, and I had a lot of time to think. And then in times like that, you see who your real friends are, and then you realise in that lifestyle there's not such thing as a real friend. Like people that rob and sell drugs and kill people, how can you have these people as friends? So there's always going to be a point where they turn on you. And then I've been in many of those situations where a lot of people's turned on me and that, so I've kind of realised that it was all fake in the beginning.
The whole criminal thing, I'm gonna take my glass and I can see my eyes, so man know it's all real, yeah? There's no love in it. Okay. You're not gonna find realness in the criminal life.
In SVI, the person will come up to the table and say out. Like, chin up and just say like, oh, do you know what, I didn't like what you done last week and but everyone respects that because you spoke up and said it.
The reason being, the difference is, now if it's a working environment and normal people that don't live a criminal lifestyle,
you could have that
generally be your friend. You think Joe will come and rob you? If Joe know we had millions in our, like say we all live together and we had millions in our house, do you think Joe is gonna come in there and rob us? Exactly. So this is where it took me long to work this out, you know, that this lifestyle is very fake, and it took me to get set up by people close to home, innit? Close to home. Like people that know my background will know that I used to fuck with brothers. I don't fuck with no brothers. No, I don't talk to no one from South London. Like you lot are the first people in South I spoke to probably in like the last 2 years. I don't talk to no one because you know what? They're gonna draw me into something that I know is fake. I'm a real person. I'm a general person. I wear my heart on my sleeve. If I die by doing that, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm not gonna tell you I like you if I don't like you. You see what I'm saying? I'm not gonna all these things. I'm not. Yeah, but when you in this, it took me. It's fucked up, you know, because this is the life I've lived my whole life. Yeah, but it's a fake lifestyle. Nothing's real in it.
So
nothing's real.
So the feeling that you get, yeah, it's not a feeling that you like.
What's that?
The feeling of
betrayal.
Of betrayal.
Yeah,
who likes that?
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's
Even
horrible.
the Prime Minister right now.
Most of these kids that are doing it, they don't get to see it because they, if you look at the whole cycle of everything, of how it happens, like there'll be a new set of gang that might have their name ringing for like a few months. They get all the attention or whatever. In their head, they're thinking they're doing good. They don't realise they're just about to get taken off the streets. And then what happens? They'll get taken off the streets. And then there's a next set that's just finished school. Some of them never even finished school. They don't know. They're just jumping into it thinking it's cool. And what's sad for them, it's not like back in the days where people that got involved in crime, they got involved in crime in like a criminal way. This way is like as a fashion. So the little kids, to them, they think it's cool. Yeah, jump up, get into this gang or do whatever. And then before you know it, they're doing a life sentence or they're dead. And they even got to the chance to realise that this lifestyle that they think is a good lifestyle is not really a good lifestyle.
Basil! Joe, how you doing? Welcome. Yeah, sorry, is there anywhere I can pray?
Yeah, of course.
I can say I've changed. It's like an escalator. You don't run down the escalator. You know, the escalator slowly comes down. You can't just say I've changed overnight. It takes months, years, you know, it just doesn't happen a click of a finger. I can't honestly say I'm 100% changed because, you know, sometimes I do have little outbursts and that, but compared to where I first started, I've changed a lot.
It's not a book, it's an experience you gotta go through.
The prison establishment didn't like what Joe was doing, so they would put a lot of hurdles in his way to stop him from doing good work because I feel that they're scared of change.
If we can all join hands together and intervene earlier on, it may stop. I've seen some of the reports that have been written on SVI about the impact that work has had on prisoners like that who've previously been very violent on the wings, you know, in their gangs and so on. And then the difference that going through the SVI program has made to their behaviour.
It's good to get off your chest.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is another quite amazing thing about doing this video, actually, isn't it? That's an amazing testimony to it. For you to just come here, we haven't seen each other for
over a year and a half.
And here you are just prepared to talk. It's pretty massive in that way. It's pretty massive.
Just trying to hold it down, you know. Trying to stay on the right track.
Yeah.
No one could understand why their behavior was so violent, and they themselves had no idea why. And when they began to explain that in a way that I found really quite astounding, was that these people had begun to understand for the first time in their lives that their behavior was related to the personal trauma that they had suffered, which then meant internalized shame being externalized as a violent behavior.
Yes.
And for anyone to be able to articulate that themselves when they're sitting inside a prison, facing a 20-year prison sentence, having lots of experience of being violent with their peers that were sitting in the room listening to this, was really very, very powerful.
I don't want to go back. I don't advise no one, no kids or nothing like that to do anything stupid to end themselves up in them kind of places. It's just a waste of time. And it's not you feeling it either, it's your parents. So remember that one.
What was also very impressive was how they described and explained how they had become mentors to other prisoners, to peers.
What is it about you that, to a certain extent, how did you get away with that?
It's gonna go up. Wait a minute. You ready, yeah? Yeah, we're ready. This is it, mate. This is ours back. Yeah?
I wouldn't say that it was hard, but you don't know people, do it? It's like, for instance, if you're not knowing people, you kind of keep it to yourself. You kind of fall back. You say one little word like no.
Right. So it's our first ever SVI group in the community.
I saw the respect between people, like members who'd been coming for a long time. I saw the respect between them, and that I was like, okay. I saw black people not talking down to people or being rude, but you could consider them being rude out of SVI. You could be like, wait up, how can this guy talk to this guy like this and he's just taking it, he's not doing nothing. But then I learned there was a mutual respect, and obviously with the aspects of SVI, that's how the guy was dealing with it, you get what I'm saying? Because he was coming back with verbal conversation and debate rather than violence.
This guy's at my door, he's at my door for a reason. He's not at my door because he told me straight, he don't get paid for what he does. You know what I mean? You didn't at the time.
At that stage, no, I didn't.
You know what I mean?
I don't know, I didn't look on it as to get out of my cell.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't really look at it as to get out of my cell. I looked at it more of the conversation that we have and the realness of it.
At the time, I was a bully in the prison, and it looked so funny because I was only little and skinny, bullying all these big muscle men and that, but that's what it was, isn't it?
You know, as I started going there, I started getting hooked.
Okay. Alright, so who's going to start the conversation?
Those sessions were kind of something that were taking me, you know, taking my mind off where I was. I had a chance to kind of talk and express my feelings about what was on my mind, instead of like boiling it up and exploding as such. So yeah, it was nice.
But that's the thing. Wanddsworth don't know that SVI has stopped a lot of things from going off in the prison in the first place.
Yeah.
With gang situations.
Yeah.
You know.
Can we agree on one thing here? We know there's no such thing as reintegration, right?
No, but
we've got our topic now. We've got our topic already.
No, really, truly, there is no reintegration. You see yourself, however you want to profile out there to say whether you want to go back or not.
Come, if I had a problem, just come to it on the Monday, ask Joe what he thinks, ask Ben what he thinks, ask George what he thinks.
The reintegration is really the public, the people that perceive us to say, well, you know, this guy went to prison for this much years and he's come out now, he's a murderer. He's come out now, damn, who wants to hire a murderer? Like,
and you know why that makes so much sense?
Switching on me now in the job.
Remember, I've only done one sentence and that was back in '96,
Shaky.
I still haven't even blended back in with normal society yet.
Right.
It's only been since I've been in contact with you that I've been finding, like,
your feet.
Not my feet, like a crossover to blending with normal people in the world. Okay. I've been so fucked up for so much years, it's like bad things feel normal to me. I was institutionalized. It took me 3 years to actually feel normal on road again.
When these guys are in the heat of the moment and so forth, they are now aware that violence is possible. But there is something within the SVI dynamic that puts a lid on it
I know the ring out thing. Ring out thing. Bump into the guy. Nervous.
But do you know what it is though?
He rang you out.
Yeah, let me talk. I'm not seeing you keep talking over and I'm going to get fucking pissed off if man keeps
Wait. If you shame me, yeah.
But I've seen you de-escalate things just like that, Joe.
Listen, Jerome's got the right to reply to that one.
You've just gone, whoa, hang on. You shush, you have your say, and then boom, you have your say. And it's de-escalated straight away.
What man has to remember on road, yeah? Enough's happened, innit? Like a man might have every intention to bring you in, yeah? But he's gonna look at you, oh, this guy might rob me. And he might not have it in his heart to even do nothing. So he's thinking, right, can I afford that? And another thing, everyone in jail is so bored that man just creates stories.
It's possible for things to come across as quite idealised in that I'm this great guy, those are the bad guys over there, the officers or whatever. And yet in SVI, as you touched on at the beginning, we get into the heat of the moment, we work with a high level of escalation and de-escalate it,
correct.
as you've said, and that helps build dialogue, I think was your word.
Yeah.
As part of that process, we've had our moments. How do you make sense of that?
Well, I think, to sum it up in plain terms, that's SVI for you. If you don't argue with someone,
right,
you don't fight with them, you don't know them. You know, it gets very extreme and heated, you know.
There was nearly fights, there's been big arguments, you know, it ain't been pretty, all plain sailing, it's been on top.
Pressure's boiled over. I can remember a time when, you know, me and Joe nearly come to heads and, you know.
And that's why I said to Joe, I could never trust you again.
Jerome, you mentioned how I'd seen you a couple of times on the street outside but didn't approach you. And actually the honest truth is I was frightened of you. I felt quite threatened by you in Wandsworth. So it's almost as if you progressed ahead of me in a way, and it took me time to catch up with you. It's quite liberating for me to share that now, that I felt, you can probably hear my voice shaking slightly. You know, really, let's be really honest. So I felt scared and intimidated, and I also feel incredibly moved that you came over to, as if you like, my side. You know, you've protected me, you've stood up for me in certain situations. Okay, I can manage the dynamics. I have to be able to manage the dynamics, but without what you've done, I'd be less safe today. I'd be less safe.
In a way, like he says he's done those things for me, but I mean I've done those things for him, but he's done a different thing for me. Like he's someone that I know that I could trust as a friend, as a real friend.
So your own program has been how can I put it? It's helped you in itself as well.
This is beautiful what you're doing, because it actually shows SVI in action, in that why on earth should you involve yourself with a program that helps you? You know, am I in a superior position to you? No.
If you embarrass me, I will go home and I can't sleep. I'll feel that I can't sleep. I have to do something to you. And I ain't talking about fighting. See what I'm saying? It made me that person, like, for years, and it took me to get to about 26, 27. I started to notice it. I knew what it was. And then I started to understand it and learn how to deal with it. But until that, I didn't know how to deal with it. And it gave me loads of complex. That was my complex. And then if someone's bigger than me, I had that Napoleon complex. Straight away, I think I don't like this big youth. Make him do one thing, I'm just gonna, you know, like it just gave me all kinds of complexes in my head. And it made me a very violent person.
People were mocking each other's stories. Everyone was taking everyone on face value, and you know what I mean, giving them a chance to speak, chance to be heard, and then analysing their situation from both sides of the coin, and then coming with a conclusion. That's just priceless.
How does the link between shame and violence strike you personally?
Oh, there's blood boiling from events. Yeah,
Okay,
it's hot. Everything gets hot, and I put it on you. And if you don't want it, I can let it go. If you want it, it's on. Simple. You see what I'm trying to say? But I try not to put myself in a situation where someone's gonna shame me, but then I've got a good banter and I can shame you back.
Right.
You know, if you want to give it, you know, to take it. Yeah, simple. Especially in them circumstances, because it's hard not life in there for everyone. Everyone's got a sentence, everyone's got another 2-3 year left, or looking something like that. You
Or even outside.
Or outside problems, and everyone's got problems in jail. So, you know, you don't need no idiot coming amongst you, winding you up, or trying to see that you're the pick of the bunch today. Because you're not going to be
You gotta
around.
find your own way how to deal with it. Everyone's
It depends
got
on.
their-
I
everyone's got
agreed on
their-
it in first.
Everyone's got their own way to
things
deal
I've
with it.
done.
though. Everyone's got their own way to deal with the shame. You got to find your own way to deal with it. You
Okay,
get what I'm saying?
fascinating.
Everyone gets shamed by different things. I could most really cuss you about your trainers and you most really wouldn't care. You get what I'm saying? But you could say something to maybe me, maybe that might offend me. You get what I'm saying? If I have rubbish trainers on. But it depends. People get shamed by different things and people can cope with it different ways. But you got to find your own way to deal with it, I think.
And you look at the smallest things that...
Can I just push Ben slightly further,
Yeah,
just to explore? I mean, could you even talk personally about how that works for you?
Alright then, personally, before, like he was saying, when I was younger, if someone done something to me or said something to me, I'd go home, I'd be angry about them, I'd want to deal with it, I'd want to show some aggression or something. Since I come out, I've been shot, I haven't done nothing back, I'm not going to do nothing back.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not looking who done it, I don't know who done it, you know what I'm saying? So I've dealt with that. I don't care what people say, no, look, Ben got shot, he's not looking to do nothing. I don't care because that's not my world no more. I don't care what them people think. Their opinion's their opinion, it don't mean nothing to me.
So you found some way of somehow reworking the shame that you could have felt before
that I had
about
before,
that, but now...
Now I don't have that shame, no.
And how have you managed to do that?
From you, Joe.
Right,
from SVI, from dealing with SVI.
Could you just say a bit more? Because this is the
From
crux
obviously
of the
from
whole thing.
Doing SVI for how long did we do SVI for? For like about 13, 14 months. And then the time we worked outside, a lot of them aspects from SVI that I've introduced to my life that helps me to deal with that type of shame.
Despite being shot in the head.
Despite being shot in the head.
That's amazing. Well, yeah.
Well, then what it boils down to, he ain't got no shame, Joe.
He has got shame, but he's got a way of...
I've definitely got shame. If someone done something to my family or something to my daughter, I'd have a lot of shame with that, and I wouldn't be businessing about this or that or whatever. You get what I'm saying? It's just things just like that. You get what I'm saying? That don't shame me or don't affect my life no more. It's not that I don't have no shame. It's not that I'm an idiot or you can come and do whatever you want to me or whatever to my family.
You found a way of doing you and not
dealing with me
being so
and
concerned
not worrying
about
what other people are thinking, what other people are thinking,
And that's one of the most powerful things you can learn. Because that's what I had to learn, and it took me to get to about 27, 28, even 29, the truth, to understand that emotion in myself.
It took me getting shot in the face to understand that emotion, to tell you the truth. If you would have said to me previous, like, right, if someone shot you in the face, what you do? I said, right, I'm gonna go do what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Like before that, it's only until after it happened.
I still feel that the rage is still there, but I just try to contain it, and then sometimes you let it come out at more so appropriate times.
If they're angry like how you're angry, they're gonna do and expect to do how you're gonna do when you're angry. You're not thinking it, so you're gonna go and do something. You're just out of anger. But if you got someone next to you that's exactly the same way as you, but they're calm, they're gonna be talking some common sense into your head to slow down, innit?
They were motivated to participate because they wanted that sense of belonging that was bigger in SVI than they could get in their separate affiliations. And because I could facilitate that, because I never deflected the violence away from myself, that's where I got the love and the respect.
And keep on shame.
There have been issues around radicalisation and extremism in relation to all faiths in different areas. We only have to look at Northern Ireland to look at it in terms of the Christian context.
As someone who became quite radicalised early on in prison with Islam, so I just believed that violence was the way. You're now effectively a leader. People look at you for spiritual advice. People look at you for protection. People look at you to get contraband. People, you've now become, so to speak, you are the big man within the prison system. Every non-Muslim is allowed to be violated, because they're not part of what we believe in. They oppress the Muslims in the Muslim lands, as well as in their land as well, they oppress the Muslim. So whatever they've got is permissible for us to take from them. So I used to honestly believe that every non-Muslim, he's food.
Yeah.
I can eat him, I can take him, whatever he's got, I can have it.
Yeah.
And I can tell the rest of the brothers, the Muslims, take, it's ours.
This is all well and good.
Then when you go into SVI and you meet a Jew, you'd meet a Christian, you'd meet a Hindu, a Sikh, you start to realise, wait a minute, these people are normal people. He's as bad as I was on the outside as he is in the inside. So how can I violate this individual without getting violated back? If my faith is really the truth, I can't just take from him as I please. Because my faith isn't going to protect me to just take from him as I please, because he's not going to have it. And then you have dialogue with these people and you realise they've probably got more faith than you in what they believe in than you have. Because you're using your faith as a tool to take and to oppress and to violate people and to scare them and intimidate. And that's not what faith is about. So the way I was radicalised was in Belmarsh. I was given certain books to read, which I'd sit down and read probably 3 times over in one day, because you got so much time on your hands in Belmarsh.
Yeah.
Which resulted in me becoming radicalised. My views were radical, which became, I then started to express my views physically and verbally with other prisoners. So they started to believe in me. So I became like a leader.
Yeah.
I was effectively a leader. But having dialogue with the other races and the other religions, people from other faiths inside SVI, resulted in me having my whole view twisted. It flipped to the point where I started to realise, what I'm doing isn't correct, and what I believe, my beliefs are a bit outlandish, and radical. This isn't Islam. So the whole de-radicalisation program started to take place without me even effectively being taught by someone on the outside.
Yeah.
By some Muslims who say they run a de-radicalisation program, they've had to come in and de-radicalise. No, that never took place. It simply took dialogue with other people.
Right.
And that dialogue wouldn't just happen where I could walk down the street and go into a room, there's Jew, Christian, Hindu, Sikh, within this room, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to talk with them, then I'm going to become de-radicalised. That's a lie. It was the whole setting. Being a segregated prisoner, taking out a normal population, prison population, being in a segregation unit, meeting you, going into those rooms, those classes, the SVI classes, mixing with other people from other religions and faiths and races and having dialogue with them.
Yeah.
That was the recipe.
Okay.
If you eliminate one from that recipe,
I see.
You're not going to get that end product with me, with my case.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been de-radicalised.
Yeah.
The process wouldn't have started.
The stressful bit for the system is that no one wants to be exposed. No one wants to... If you go into the prison service, you go into the prison service because you want to be in control. You want a hierarchical system, you want to feel competent, you want to feel professional. And the more competent and professional you feel, the more it shames the people you're working with, because they need to feel a sense of control for themselves. And the more you shame them, the more violent they become.
So, why did Wanddsworth even stop the whole SVI thing?
Well, I think it was...
you didn't want to pay?
It wasn't even that, because I was doing it for free for a year and a half, wasn't I?
I was really disappointed when I heard it closed down, or it had been closed down, because I was part of the steering group, as you know, that looked at the program 2006, 2007, whatever, and obviously the numbers you were working with, the approach had to be a qualitative one, where we were speaking to, or I wasn't, but the researchers were speaking to individuals and seeing how they have benefited from the program and what they got out of it and so forth. And all of that was so promising, and met so many of those things that I've been talking about skilling people to deal with, because they're going to face these conflicts, they're going to face these situations where they before couldn't handle it, and SVI was surely not showing promise, but definitely helping people to deal with those situations.
You can't do SVI with like a teacher or something. It has to be someone who's done SVI. You know what I'm saying? Who's been through the motion, who knows how to deal with it all. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of them skills, it's like they're not getting wasted, but it's like it's getting wasted because I got a lot to give. I got a lot to say. You get what I'm saying? The people can learn a lot from me, and I can learn a lot from people.
You know, it's grown so much, and someone to mimic it and not understand it, yeah, it would be very diluted and weak.
There isn't really anything else out there like what SVI is doing, and that's there are other programs that deal with conflict resolution in prison, but not in the way that you were doing it with SVI at Wanddsworth. So I was really disappointed when it was closed down.
When SVI was shut down, I thought this was just another sting in the prison's tail. They hate a positive thing going on. When in times there's something positive going on, where people are interacting and dealing with problems, another problem occurs. So
why do they hate that?
They hate because without prisoners and criminals, they're not really in a job.
It's very disappointing to learn that SVI stopped at Wanddsworth. Unfortunately, it's not totally surprising, because often what you find with prisons in the system is that individual governors will have a passion for a particular project, will have a way of working, and often the most successful governors who do have that passion and are willing to try new things are actually victims of their own success. They get promoted, they get shifted through the system quite rapidly, and so they're often not there for very long, and it's so difficult to embed good practice in prisons because of that, because the next governor may not have the same approach to things.
What's of primary importance to me in my work is finding ways for prisons to be safer places.
If you looked at this thing statistically, Joe did an analysis, right, where he proved to them that SVI has actually reduced levels of violence within the prison, and he actually proved it to them. He showed it to us that this is the model and this is what it does, and this is a pie chart. This is what you can see. This is the effects of what the work is, what I'm actually doing, you know, with my groups, which Joe was actually doing with the groups, and he gave them everything they needed to see about SVI, and they shut the door on it.
BOCP are really keen to support whatever they could do in taking this forward, because we recognise there's really not enough done for people with high violent tendencies in prisons.
Whatever we had on the wing, we could deal with it through our feelings for SVI, and probably walk into SVI with a bit of a chip on our shoulder and a bit of tension, but walk out with that sense of relief.
Before, I couldn't handle shame.
You know, I was violent before I started attending SVI.
Coming to SVI, you start to learn that shame is a dynamics which you've got control over.
I don't explode no more, whereas I used to explode.
When they could see someone like me kind of giving my 50 pence in, everybody putting their 50 pence, and we ended up with a big bad tenner. It was good.
Yeah. It was Joe's therapeutic group, or stress release group, we can fling anything on the table.
If they was to put a camera outside where they do ETS, you know what I mean, and then catch the conversation and the body language of the people coming out of ETS, you get what I mean, it will be a stark comparison, you get what I mean, because people in there talking all eloquently and doing this and rah and giving these, and then they come outside and they're just like how they are, you get what I mean, they're just good, you get what I'm saying, like SVI, you could put a camera in SVI and we'll be talking the exact same way and acting the same way as when we leave.
there are prisoners at the heavy end and at the, if you were, the other end of the spectrum. And the heavy end are the ones that worry me most, because they undermine the safe running of prisons, and they're also people who are very likely to reoffend. And the prison service is not good at applying consistent programs to challenge this. I don't just say this because you and I are talking, but what impressed me about SVI was that it was tackling this head on. And it was not only tackling the problems of the individuals as individuals, but it was also recognizing what gangs can do inside prisons. They can undermine the morale of everyone, staff, prisoners and everyone else. The prison service failed to recognize this and convert good practice, which you were conducting in Wanddsworth, into common practice everywhere. Because every prison in the country has got the sort of people in it who you were tackling at Wanddsworth, who need to be challenged if prisons everywhere are to work properly.
If we could get an SVI worker in every primary school and every secondary school, then actually we wouldn't need to have pupil referral units at all.
Whatever we have achieved now, it stems from Joel's input from the prison. You know, that's where it stems from. And anything beyond that, it stems from there. So we can make major changes, you know, and I can't get my head around why. You know, it confuses me. Why they say, Joel, see you later, shut the door on him. I can't see why they would do that. Strategically, it's a sick move that they've made. Sick, irresponsible, an idiotic move which they've made.
I think what was really fascinating for me was watching you kind of come in and meet the client where they were at, and not being afraid to do that. And we know that, don't we? It's a sound psychotherapeutic counselling model. You meet the client wherever they're at. And he was this kind of niche sort of group of people that nobody wanted to go and meet where they were at. You know, it's the only way to engage them.
What concerned me was that whatever was done with these people was always negative.
You go to secondary school, you come to referral school, you come from referral school, go secure unit, from secure unit you go fell on, from fell on you go big man jail, and it just carries on and on and on, you get what I'm saying? So it's good to try and break the cycle.
When I feel like I'm about to lash out, I feel sometimes I need to talk to someone, or I lash out, you know, and obviously that's what SVI used to do.
What's going on with this? Why is this not in schools? Why is it not back in prison? Like, SVI should definitely not go away. It definitely needs to be something that needs to be pursued and need to be shared.
If there was a hidden agenda or an ulterior motive, maybe a lot of the people would have shied away from SVI.
I worked hard to get this reputation and to get the name that I had, and to make money and to get girls and to have jewelry and cars. I worked hard to do that. So if I worked just as hard to educate myself and to have a job, I'll probably be just as good, but in the 9-to-5 world, not just in the, I suppose, underworld. That's what I'm saying.
Emotionally, I definitely want to kill people, no question.
Right,
based on
cut it on there, please.
He's sick, guys. Listen, I think he's sick. I think he's the sickest in the room.
Yeah, he's the sickest in the room. That's why he's the sickest one.
He different issues, mate. Yeah.
That's it.
Good, Joe. Good to see you outside, mate. I'm
Brilliant, bro. Top, fantastic.